Close your eyes and imagine yourself descending through layers of invisible water, deeper and deeper into a realm where the weight of the entire ocean presses down upon you in an embrace both suffocating and strangely comforting. The temperature drops with each meter. The light fades to shades of blue, then purple, then absolute black. You feel the immensity of silence wrapping around you, a silence so complete it becomes almost a sound of its own, a gentle hum beneath everything, the baseline of the world. Your body, were it present, would feel crushed and yet held, as though the ocean itself is cradling you in its deepest arms. There is no struggle here, no urgency, no resistance. Only the slow, inevitable descent into the profound darkness below, and the strange peace that comes with surrendering to forces so ancient and so much larger than yourself. Your journey begins not with a single step, but with an understanding that the ocean, in its vastness, contains multiple worlds within itself. The water that surrounds you at the surface, where sunlight dances and waves roll toward distant shores, is but a thin veil concealing the true nature of Earth's greatest wilderness. As you begin to drift downward, your passage takes you through distinct realms, each with its own character, its own slow and ancient rhythms, each one drawing you deeper into silence. The first zone you encounter is called the epipelagic zone, or the sunlit zone. It extends from the surface down to approximately 1,000 feet below. This is where golden light still penetrates, where the energy of the sun dances through the water in shimmering rays. Fish move through schools, their scales catching fragments of that distant light. Plankton drift in clouds too small to see, and far above, whales sing their ancient songs. But even as you pass through this zone, something is already shifting. The light is beginning to dim, and with it, the familiar world of the surface is slowly transforming into something altogether different. You continue downward, and now you enter the twilight zone, the mesopelagic zone. Only the faintest whispers of sunlight remain here, creating a perpetual dusk that never quite becomes day and never quite becomes night. The water around you seems to exist in a liminal space, between states, between worlds. The animals that live here have learned to create their own light. Small fish produce soft glows from organs beneath their eyes. Jellyfish pulse with ethereal light, gentle and patient. Squid flash patterns of bioluminescence, a language written in light that only they can read. You sense that you are crossing a threshold, leaving behind the world that knows the sun. As you continue to sink, you pass through deeper and deeper darkness, and now you enter the bathypelagic zone, the midnight zone. No sunlight has ever reached these depths, not in the entire history of the ocean. The darkness here is absolute and complete. The pressure is intensifying with each meter of descent, a weight that would crush anything from the surface world. Yet the creatures that live here have evolved to thrive within it. The temperature hovers just above freezing, a cold that slows everything down. The movements of the animals, their growth, their reproduction, even their very heartbeats. It is a cold that encourages a kind of underwater hibernation, a slowing of life itself to match the scarce availability of food. And now, as you continue your gentle descent past 13,000 feet, You arrive at a realm that stretches across vast expanses of the ocean floor. This is the Abyssal Zone, and it covers more area than all of Earth's dry land combined. Across this immense landscape, the seafloor spreads out in undulating slopes and gentle valleys, a terrain that seems barren and lifeless at first glance, yet which harbors secrets within every meter of its expanse. In this deep realm, you become aware of a profound stillness. The currents here move with such glacial slowness that they take centuries to complete their circuits. The water seems almost motionless, almost suspended in time, and you cannot feel it moving around you at all. The temperature remains constant at a cold just above freezing, varying only slightly from one location to another. Around you, the weight of all that water presses down, ancient and immense, a pressure so great that it would instantly crush anything from the surface, yet which the creatures of this world have learned not merely to tolerate, but to require for their very existence. It is simply the nature of this realm, the basic condition of being alive here. The accumulation of material on the abyssal plane occurs at a rate so slow that it seems almost impossible to comprehend. Fine particles of rock, the remnants of shells from creatures that died centuries ago, the dust of the continents carried by currents, all of this settles downward at a rate of only 1 to 2 centimeters per 1,000 years. This means that a layer of sediment just 10 centimeters deep, the width of your hand, represents 5,000 years of slow, patient deposition. A meter of sediment represents 50,000 years. The abyssal plane contains within it a record of Earth's history, written in stone and sediment, a chronicle preserved in layers that will take millennia to form. Life here moves at a different speed, operates by different rules. An organism might take a decade to grow an inch. A fish might expend so little energy that its heart beats only a few times per minute. Reproduction occurs rarely, and when it does, generations stretch across timescales that seem almost incomprehensible. The creatures of the abyssal plane have adapted to darkness and pressure in ways both peculiar and profound. Many have eyes that are either enormous, designed to capture every available photon of light, or entirely absent, since vision serves no purpose in absolute darkness. Others possess sensory organs that allow them to detect the faintest movements of water, to navigate by sensing the presence of other living things in the darkness around them. The food sources of the abyssal plane are unlike anything found in the abundant surface waters. Here, life depends on what scientists call marine snow, the steady descent of organic particles from the productive waters far above. Dead plankton, fragments of dead fish, and other organic material slowly drift downward through the water column, eventually reaching the bottom as a sparse but continuous supply of nutrition. A square meter of abyssal seafloor might receive only a few grams of organic material per year, an almost impossibly small amount upon which to sustain life. Yet the organisms here have evolved to extract every possible calorie from this meager bounty. Bacteria form thin films on the seafloor, processing organic matter and making it available to larger organisms. Certain species of sea cucumbers, creatures that resemble nothing more than tubes of gelatinous tissue crawl across the abyssal plain at speeds so slow they seem almost motionless, their mouths collecting particles from the sediment, their journeys measured across years. As you continue your descent, approaching the deepest regions of the ocean, the water around you changes subtly. The sediment beneath you rises slightly. The cold becomes somehow more intense, as if the very temperature of the world is shifting. And then, ahead in the darkness, something shifts again. A difference. The ocean itself seems alive in a new way, preparing you for what comes next. These are the hydrothermal vents, extraordinary features that exist along the deep rifts where the Earth's crust is splitting apart, where tectonic plates are slowly moving away from one another, leaving behind cracks and fissures that reach toward the heat of the planet below. Imagine a crack in the Earth's crust, deep beneath the ocean floor, where water seeps downward through porous rock until it reaches temperatures of several hundred degrees. This superheated water becomes enriched with minerals leached from the surrounding rock, transforming it into a solution containing elements you would recognize: iron, sulfur, manganese, and many others besides. This mineral-rich water, lighter than the surrounding seawater due to its heat, rises back upward through the same cracks and fissures, eventually erupting through the seafloor as a hydrothermal vent. The plume of darkened water that emerges appears almost black due to the abundance of particles suspended within it, and these vents are sometimes called black smokers, a name that perfectly captures their appearance. Around you, the contrast is striking, scorching heat meeting absolute cold, separated by only the thin boundary of the emerging plume. The temperatures of the fluid emerging from these vents can exceed 750 degrees Fahrenheit. This is hot enough to melt lead, yet the water does not boil because of the extreme pressure surrounding it. As the superheated water meets the cold abyssal environment, it cools almost immediately. And as it cools, minerals precipitate out of solution, forming structures that grow upward at rates measured in centimeters per year. Over decades and centuries, massive towers develop, some reaching heights of 15 to 20 meters, monuments to the geological forces that created them, monuments that will one day crumble back into the seafloor as tectonic movement continues its slow, patient work. But what makes these vents truly remarkable is not their geology alone, but rather the extraordinary abundance of life that congregates around them. In an environment where life is sparse and energy is scarce, the vents represent islands of abundance, oases in a sea of scarcity. The minerals emerging from the vents support the growth of chemosynthetic bacteria, organisms that do not depend on sunlight, but rather on chemical energy derived from hydrogen sulfide and other compounds. These bacteria form the foundation of a unique ecosystem, one that does not depend on the energy of the distant sun, but rather on the heat and chemical richness of the Earth itself. Around these vents, life flourishes in a manner that seems almost impossible in this realm. Tubeworms as thick as a human arm and more than 3 meters in length cluster in dense communities, their reddish bodies creating a forest of living tissue. These remarkable creatures possess no mouth and no digestive system. Instead, they rely entirely on symbiotic bacteria living within their tissues, bacteria that derive energy from hydrogen sulfide and share that energy with their host. Clams as large as a dinner plate cluster together on the rocks, their shells encrusted with mineral deposits. Shrimp with eyes distributed across their backs crawl through the mineral formations, creatures that have evolved in isolation for millions of years, finding their place in a world built upon heat and chemistry rather than light. The hydrothermal vent ecosystem represents a fundamental revelation about the nature of life itself. For centuries, scientists believed that all life on Earth ultimately depended on the sun, that the energy captured through photosynthesis was the foundation upon which all existence was built. The discovery of these vent communities shattered that assumption. Here is life, abundant and diverse, that has never known the sun and derives no benefit from it. Here is proof that life can arise and flourish using mechanisms entirely independent of solar energy. This knowledge carries profound implications not only for our understanding of Earth's oceans, but for our understanding of how life might exist on other worlds, worlds we have never seen, orbiting distant stars, or moons hiding beneath thick sheets of ice, any place where chemical energy and heat can meet. As you move deeper still, the reality of pressure becomes increasingly present, increasingly real. Pressure is a fundamental force that shapes every aspect of life in the deep ocean, a force so pervasive and so complete that all organisms here have evolved not merely to tolerate it, but to require it for their very survival. With every 33 feet of depth beneath the ocean's surface, an additional atmosphere of pressure is added. At 330 feet, the pressure is 10 times that of the surface. At 3,300 feet, it is 100 times. At 33,000 feet, it is 1,000 times the pressure that you feel upon your skin right now, in this moment, at the surface of the world. The process by which organisms adapt to such extreme pressure is one of evolution's most remarkable achievements. Over millions of years, organisms that happen to possess genetic variations allowing them to function under extreme pressure survived and reproduced. Their offspring inherited these variations, refining them across subsequent generations. Eventually, through this patient process repeated countless times, populations of organisms emerged that could not only survive under extreme pressure, but whose very bodies had evolved structures and chemistry that made extreme pressure necessary for their survival. Consider the fish of the deep, creatures that have lived their entire lives in this compressed world. Their bodies are largely devoid of air spaces, unlike fish from shallower waters, which possess swim bladders filled with gas to control their buoyancy. In the deep ocean, such an air-filled bladder would be crushed to the size of a grain of sand. Deep-sea fish have instead evolved to use oils and fats which cannot be compressed to maintain their buoyancy. Their skeletons contain less calcium and phosphorus than those of shallow water fish, making them lighter, allowing them to remain suspended in the water without sinking. The very proteins that make up the cells and tissues of deep-sea organisms are subtly different from those of shallow water creatures. These proteins have evolved to maintain their structure and function even under extreme pressure, to resist compression that would distort the proteins of surface organisms beyond recognition. The cell membranes are composed of fats that remain flexible and functional even under extreme pressure, allowing cells to maintain their integrity and exchange nutrients with their surroundings. The chemistry of life itself has been rewritten by the demands of the deep ocean at the molecular level in ways that are only now being understood by science. Temperature also plays a crucial role in shaping life in the deep ocean. The abyssal zone maintains temperatures just above freezing, temperatures that would be considered extremely cold by the standards of surface organisms. Yet for the creatures of the deep, these temperatures represent optimal conditions under which their bodies function efficiently. The cold slows chemical reactions, reducing metabolic rates and decreasing the amount of energy required to maintain life. This is an adaptation to scarcity, a transformation of limitation into advantage. Where food is rare, it is beneficial to require little food. The deep-sea fish requires vastly less food than a comparable shallow water species, allowing it to survive in an environment where meals are scarce and widely spaced. But this adaptation to cold and scarcity comes with profound costs. Reproduction in the deep ocean is slow and infrequent. Most deep-sea fish produce very few eggs, and the growth rates of young fish are measured in millimeters per year. Sexual maturity may not be achieved until an organism is many years old. Lifespans are long, often extending to decades or even longer. A deep-sea fish might spend 30 years reaching sexual maturity, then reproduce only once or twice in its lifetime. This is a life strategy optimized not for rapid growth and early reproduction, but for survival and persistence in an environment where every calorie is precious and stability is paramount, where patience itself becomes a virtue. In the complete darkness of the midnight zone and beyond, light itself becomes something sacred, something rare and precious. Light becomes a medium of communication, a tool of survival, a language spoken by countless creatures adapted to a lightless world. Bioluminescence is the production of light by living organisms, a chemical process in which certain molecules release energy in the form of photons that travel outward as visible light. This remarkable ability has evolved independently in multiple lineages of deep-sea organisms, suggesting that in this environment, the ability to produce light carries significant advantages. The uses of bioluminescence in the deep ocean are as varied and as ingenious as the creatures that employ it. Some organisms produce light from organs beneath their eyes and angle this light downward, illuminating the seafloor below them. This illumination serves two purposes at once. It allows the organism to see what lies beneath it, and it also acts as a beacon or signal to other creatures in the darkness. Other organisms use bioluminescence as a lure, producing light in the form of a small globe at the end of a filament dangling in front of their mouths, much like an angler's fishing rod. Small fish, attracted to this light and mistaking it for a small prey organism, swim toward it, only to be swallowed whole by the creature bearing the lure. Bioluminescence is also used extensively for communication and the finding of mates. Certain species of deep-sea fish and squid produce light in species-specific patterns, patterns of flashing and color that are recognized by other members of the same species. These patterns allow organisms to identify potential mates in the darkness, to coordinate social behaviors, and to warn rivals of territorial boundaries. The light shows produced by some organisms are complex and beautiful, sequences of flashes that ripple across their skin in patterns of remarkable intricacy, patterns that only their own kind can fully understand. Perhaps most remarkably, some organisms use bioluminescence as a form of camouflage, a strategy called counterillumination. Many small fish that live at depths where some faint light from above still penetrates possess light-producing organs on their undersides. These organisms produce light of an intensity and color precisely matched to the dim light filtering down from above. To a predator below, looking upward at the creature's silhouette, the counterillumination makes the organism invisible, erasing the shadow that would otherwise betray its presence. It is an elegant solution to the problem of avoiding predation, a strategy that requires such precision in matching light intensity and wavelength that it borders on the miraculous. The bacteria that produce the bioluminescent light often exist in symbiotic relationships with their hosts, partnerships refined over millions of years. In certain fish and squid species, specialized light organs contain billions of luminescent bacteria. The host organism provides the bacteria with nutrients and protection, and the bacteria provide the host with a controllable source of light. The host can regulate the intensity and duration of the light by adjusting the oxygen supply to the light organ, effectively controlling the bacteria through a process not unlike flipping a switch. This partnership represents one of nature's most sophisticated examples of mutualistic symbiosis. Two organisms so dependent on one another that they have become, in a sense, one being. The light produced by bioluminescent organisms penetrates the darkness of the deep ocean, creating a realm of silent signals and hidden communication. Points of light emerge from the darkness, vanishing as quickly as they appeared. Strange creatures materialize as ghostly forms illuminated by their own radiance, then disappear again into the black. The light show would seem almost otherworldly to an observer, yet it is entirely natural, a consequence of evolution's patient work across millions of years, sculpting life to fit an environment so alien that few creatures from the surface world could imagine it. As you continue your descent, passing deeper and deeper into regions that few places on Earth possess, you are entering a realm that stretches only to a handful of locations on this planet. You are now entering the Hadal zone, named after Hades, the Greek underworld, a fitting name for the deepest regions of the ocean. The Hadal zone begins at approximately 20,000 feet, or 6,000 meters, and extends to the deepest points in the ocean. But its extent is limited to a small number of ocean trenches, deep cracks in the Earth's crust where tectonic plates have descended into the mantle, leaving behind chasms of almost incomprehensible depth. The Mariana Trench lies in the western Pacific Ocean, in an area of geologically intense activity. The trench stretches for nearly 2,500 kilometers in length, and its width varies from 70 to 100 kilometers. It is the result of a subduction zone, a location where the Pacific tectonic plate is gradually sinking beneath another plate, a process that has been occurring for millions of years and will continue for millions of years to come. This movement of tectonic plates is among the slowest processes on Earth, advancing at a rate of only 3 to 4 centimeters per year. Yet across millions of years, it has excavated a trench of almost incomprehensible depth, a monument to the slow and patient work of the Earth itself. The deepest point in the entire Mariana Trench is called the Challenger Deep, named in honor of the HMS Challenger, the British research vessel that, in the 1870s, conducted the first systematic survey of the world's oceans. The depth of the Challenger Deep is approximately 36,070 feet below the surface of the sea, or approximately 11,000 meters. This extraordinary depth means that if Mount Everest, the tallest mountain on Earth, were somehow placed at the bottom of the Challenger Deep, its summit would still be submerged beneath nearly 7,000 feet of water. The deepest point on the surface of the Earth would be covered by an ocean. As you approach this ultimate depth, the pressure reaches numbers that seem almost impossible. At the Challenger Deep, the pressure exceeds 1,100 atmospheres, more than 1,000 times the atmospheric pressure that you feel upon your skin at sea level. This means that the force exerted by the weight of the overlying ocean is more than 15,000 pounds per square inch, a pressure so extreme that it would instantaneously crush any human body, would compress materials that we normally consider rigid and solid, would distort the very physics of chemistry itself. Yet here, in this abyss, life continues to exist, adapted through millions of years of evolution to thrive in conditions that human imagination struggles to comprehend. The water temperature at the Challenger Deep hovers just above freezing, a cold that is absolute and unrelenting. The darkness is complete and total, without exception. No photon of visible light has reached this depth since the formation of the oceans themselves. Any light that exists here is produced by the living things themselves, or brought by the rare human vessel descending to observe and measure. This is a realm that has remained virtually unchanged for millennia, a world unto itself, separate and complete. The journey to the Challenger Deep has only been accomplished a handful of times in the entire history of human exploration. In 1960, the bathyscaphe Trieste descended to the Challenger Deep in a feat of extraordinary courage and technical achievement. The vessel's hull was spherical, a shape chosen because spheres distribute pressure evenly across their surface. The descent took nearly 5 hours, a slow descent into deeper and deeper darkness. At the bottom, they were able to spend only minutes before ascending again, for the extreme pressure and the hostile nature of the environment did not permit prolonged exploration. But they went, and they returned, and they brought knowledge back with them. The Challenger Deep remained almost unexplored for more than 50 years after that historic descent. In 2012, explorer James Cameron piloted a deep-diving submersible to the bottom of the Challenger Deep. This expedition brought extraordinary footage and scientific data back from this extreme environment, providing researchers with images and information that had never before been obtained. Since then, several other expeditions have reached the Challenger Deep, including crewed submersibles and remotely operated vehicles, gradually expanding human knowledge of this remarkable location, slowly revealing the secrets of the deep. Though the Hadal zone was once thought to be devoid of life, subsequent exploration has revealed that even here, in this extreme environment, organisms have established themselves. Life in the Hadal zone is sparse and strange, adapted to pressures that exceed 1,000 atmospheres and temperatures that hover just above freezing. The organisms here move slowly, grow slowly, and reproduce slowly. They are the ultimate specialists, creatures that have evolved specifically for these extreme conditions and would likely be unable to survive anywhere else on Earth. Among the most notable residents of the Hadal zone are the amphipods, small crustaceans related to shrimp. Several species of amphipods have been discovered in the Challenger Deep and other deep ocean trenches. These creatures are only a few centimeters in length, their bodies streamlined and compressed, with powerful swimming legs that propel them through the water. Some amphipods found in Hadal zone samples have been observed to move with surprising vigor, despite the extreme pressure. Scientists theorize that these organisms have evolved in such a way that they may actually require high pressure for their survival. If brought to the surface, their very structure would change, their proteins would unfold, and the organism would not be able to continue living. Snailfish are another remarkable group of organisms found in the Hadal zone. These small fish, rarely exceeding 30 centimeters in length, have adapted to the extreme pressure and cold in ways that make them virtually unrecognizable compared to fish from shallower waters. Their bodies are soft and gelatinous, lacking the bony structures of their relatives. Their heads are enormous relative to their body size, their mouths filled with small, delicate teeth. Their eyes are either extremely large, designed to capture every possible photon of light, or completely absent, depending on the species. Some species of snailfish have been filmed moving slowly across the bottom of the Challenger Deep, their ghostly white or pale transparent bodies drifting through the darkness like phantoms, their purpose and behavior still largely unknown to science, still holding their secrets close. Sea cucumbers of certain species have been observed in Hadal environments, their long, tube-like bodies moving across the seafloor at speeds almost too slow to measure. These creatures feed on organic material in the sediment, consuming particles that have fallen from the productive waters far above, making a living from the meager bounty that reaches the bottom. They move through their world with infinite patience, asking nothing more than to continue their slow work, year after year. The microorganisms of the Hadal zone, the bacteria and archaea, may represent some of the most extreme pressure-adapted life forms on Earth. These single-celled organisms have been isolated from samples taken from the Challenger Deep, and laboratory studies have shown something remarkable. Some of them actually prefer high-pressure environments. When placed in low-pressure conditions, they grow more slowly and less successfully than when exposed to pressures approaching those found at the bottom of the Challenger Deep. These microorganisms have evolved so specifically for extreme pressure that they are, in a sense, prisoners of the deep, unable to survive anywhere on Earth but in these deepest trenches. The ecosystems of the Hadal zone are not self-contained. Like all deep ocean environments, they depend on organic material sinking from above. Occasionally, a whale dies and sinks to the bottom of the ocean, bringing with it thousands of kilograms of organic material. When such a whale fall reaches the Hadal zone, it becomes a temporary abundance, an island of food that may sustain the local community of organisms for years. Specialized bacteria colonize the whale carcass, breaking down the organic material and making it available to larger scavengers. Amphipods, snailfish, and other creatures gather around the carcass, feeding on the enriched environment that surrounds it. Over the course of years, specialized clams may settle on the bones themselves, feeding on fatty compounds within them, creating a unique ecosystem that persists long after the soft tissue has been consumed. The existence of life in the Hadal zone carries profound implications for our understanding of the boundaries of life itself. For many decades, scientists assumed that there were limits beyond which life could not exist, that certain combinations of pressure, temperature, and chemistry would simply be incompatible with the processes necessary for life to function. Yet with each new discovery in the Hadal zone, those assumed limits are gently pushed back. Life continues to find ways to exist, to persist, to reproduce, in environments that seem utterly hostile to biological activity. This resilience of life, this gentle refusal to be limited by conditions that human intuition suggests should be lethal, speaks to something fundamental about the nature of life itself. As you float in these deepest waters, suspended in darkness, you become aware that the silence you perceive is not truly silence at all, but rather the absence of sound waves that human ears would be capable of detecting. The deep ocean, while appearing utterly quiet, is actually filled with a symphony of communication, a complex web of signals that allows the scattered organisms of the deep to locate one another, to find food, to warn of danger, to seek out mates in the darkness. Sound travels through water with remarkable efficiency, traveling more than 4 times faster through water than through air. Low-frequency sounds can travel vast distances through the ocean, and the songs of whales, which inhabit shallower waters but whose sound penetrates downward toward the abyss, can be detected thousands of kilometers away. These acoustic signals shape the communication networks of the ocean, connecting creatures that have never met across distances that seem incomprehensibly vast. In the deep ocean, Many organisms produce sound. Snapping shrimp possess enormous claws that they can snap together with such velocity and force that the water around them cavitates, creating a bubble that collapses with a shock wave. This snap can stun or kill small prey organisms, and the sound itself carries information about the shrimp's location and status, a signal that travels through the darkness and is received by others. Some deep-sea fish produce sounds in other ways. By grinding their teeth together, by forcing water through specialized structures in their gills, by vibrating parts of their bodies, they generate sounds that propagate through the surrounding water. These sounds serve multiple purposes. They can stun prey. They can act as warnings to potential predators. They can facilitate communication between members of the same species. A fish searching for a mate might produce specific calls, signals that travel through the darkness and are detected by another member of its species, allowing them to locate one another despite the total absence of visual contact. Chemical signals represent another crucial form of communication in the deep ocean. Many organisms, particularly invertebrates like squid and crustaceans, produce chemical compounds that dissolve into the surrounding water and drift with the currents. These chemicals carry information about the organism's reproductive status, its species identity, its emotional state. A female squid approaching sexual maturity might release chemical signals into the water, compounds that are detected by males of her species, who locate her by following the concentration gradient of the chemical, swimming toward higher concentrations, swimming toward the source, much as one might follow the scent of something in the darkness when sight is impossible. The sensory systems by which deep-sea organisms detect these signals are as remarkable as the signals themselves. Many fish possess extraordinary sensitivity to chemical compounds, capable of detecting the presence of specific molecules at concentrations of parts per trillion. Their nasal tissues contain receptor cells exquisitely adapted to bind with specific compounds, triggering neural signals that the brain interprets as meaningful information. Some organisms possess lateral line systems, organs that detect the movement of water and vibrations in the surrounding medium, allowing them to perceive the approach of other organisms, to sense the movement of prey, to navigate in the absolute darkness as if they could see. And here in this realm of signal and silence, of light and darkness, of pressure and cold and vast distances, the deep ocean continues its ancient work. Life persists, slowly growing, slowly reproducing, slowly moving through a world that human imagination can barely grasp. The creatures here have no need for haste. They exist in a state of profound patience, accepting the conditions of their world as simply the way things are, the way things have always been. Time moves differently here. Years pass like moments. Moments stretch like years. And in the darkness, in the silence, in the cold embrace of the deep, life goes on, patient and enduring, asking nothing but to continue, to persist, to exist in this realm that belongs to itself alone. Your descent continues still, deeper and deeper, but your awareness begins to drift. The boundaries between yourself and the ocean blur. You are no longer descending through the water so much as becoming part of it, letting it surround you completely. The cold is no longer something you feel, but something you are. The pressure is no longer something pressing upon you, but something that holds you gently, cradling you in its immense and ancient embrace. There is nowhere else to go, nowhere else to be. There is only this moment, this place, this peace that settles around you like a benediction, like a blessing, like the world itself saying, rest now, sleep now, let go now and drift into the darkness that is not darkness at all, but the most profound comfort, the deepest peace, the ocean's gentle lullaby.